I'm so glad to see everybody today. In front of me, I have the lovely sign-up sheet with names and lots of poems. Have everyone who's here to read signed up on the sign-up sheet so I know when to call your name? Not signed up? Raise your hand. No? Good. You're awesome then. All right. And we know we're awesome anyway, right? So this is the Texas Poetry Calendar. It was a delight to read something on the order of 450 poems to select for the calendar. It's always, when you do this kind of work, it's always a challenge and a labor of love, because if people are trusting you with their work and they're sending so much of themselves when they send you their poems. And I feel that what we created, what Callisto Gaia Press created, is a beautiful calendar, and y'all should be proud of the calendar. So thank you again for submitting, and be sure to submit for the 2020 calendar. That being said, I'd like to introduce Terry Dawson. Terry Dawson's been very involved in jazz and poetry, and I am delighted that his poem appears for the first week of January. Please welcome Terry Dawson.
I'm particularly thankful to Cindy's editorial eye. This poem wasn't exactly like this, but she helped me along, and so I really appreciate that. A fine editor she is. So. I'm going to begin though with a nonfiction piece, a creative nonfiction piece that's going to be published in the next Callisto Gaia, in the Alcatillo Review, I should say. And this is for Kennedy. Cocoon. The assertion God is marvelous. The meaning of his Nigerian name changed none of the tragic facts. Okosa wrapped in gauzy white head to stumps, where his legs once extended, simply breathed by machine. We looking on only hoped that he'd soon emerge from his cocoon, the dazzling butterfly of a boy he'd been. We considered his way of extracting laughter from us, bursting into our designated after-worship classroom, imitating our rector's Harvard Yard accent. Jesus said to his disciple. He never failed to leave all present doubled over. The fact that he'd convinced those in his high school that his name was Barack, like the president at the time, also set something in us free. Still, we could not go back in time to stop him from going out on New Year's Eve with a friend just stopping by. We could not stop them both from stopping to help two girls who'd run out of gas, or to keep them from filling a bucket at the pump. When someone lit a cigarette, it was already too late for the one holding the gas-heavy container. Okosa, God is marvelous. After a week, the doctors unwrapped the spongy white web to make it easier for the family to say, turn off the machine. Extremities burned away, the clear plastic keeping internal organs in place allowed us to see how they'd all grown ashen and ineffective. Yet even with those full lips fried to cinder and those mischievous eyes sealed shut, we still waited for him to pull joy from us. Finally, his father wailed, my boy, my prince, and called on me to pray. And though I felt I lost my faith that day, I did. And did because I remembered what he'd said while playing a church school game that asked, how would you spend your last day knowing you'd surely die upon the next? Las Vegas, Hollywood, and Disneyland fantasies emerged in short order from the other teens, but Okosa matter-of-factly uttered, I'd spend it praying with my family. And so we did. Still, I do not remember a word I said as I stood sweating through my antiseptic yellow paper mask and armor in that tiny room kept hot to make up for the patient's lack of skin. I would not be there at the end, or at the cemetery when folks tossed unto the casket Texas, caliche, and clods of thirsty earth. We had gotten lost on the way to the graveside ceremony and arrived too late. My daughter, Fiona, and I were then left to imagine the sound, felt as well as heard, with each one's passing handful. I envisioned the mourners when, having come full circle, staring at the open ground as we had at his cocoon, our hope at once stubborn and completely done in. God is marvelous, I heard Fiona, Akosa's friend, say as we watched the others who'd gathered drift across the mowed but now brown grass toward their cars, and then add, almost under her breath, is gone. And the poem from the poetry calendar, early. January tolerates its mornings as well or better than most months. Frost has split the stems of weeds, emitting modest clouds here and there along the ground. Marshmallows balloon at the base instead of the tips of woody fingers during a warmer season. Chill presses its incisors into the blush of bare horizon tree crowns, saying, the sun will have its day. Yet for the moment, the air holds its own, not waiting or counting on anything but its chiseled breath, one upon the other. The black dog fed, the gray cat fed. Here at home in the hill country core of a state once anything but home, there's nothing but to keep company with this muted light's certainty